open the page.
I don't want to hear you say that.
Put that umbrella around once, take it off you.
Warum?
Your work's over there. You need to be with your work, please. Over you go.
Yeah, hurry up, Chloe.
Thank you.
Former lunchtime assistant Tony Barrett trained as a TA 5 years ago and has just volunteered as a cover supervisor.
For this job, you have to be a jack of all trades, master of none. So there's no way you'd end up carrying 4 or 5 briefcases just to have spare lesson plans in case. So you have to be very good at being able to play it by ear and just think of ideas on the spot. What is it? I am going to ask you to move in a minute because you are disrupting a lot of people.
It's challenging establishing new relationships with students she used to work with as a TA. So John Bailey's here at Chiltern Trinity in Somerset to help out.
Zoe, can we sit down, please?
You don't have me. No, it's not.
I'm stood right behind you.
Oh, can you read the mic?
You were sat down doing nothing.
What does it feel like working as a cover supervisor with a child who you've previously had a relationship with as a TA?
Well, when you're in the lesson as a TA, you tend to have the teacher being the buck stops here role. So as a TA, you can be their friend as well as being the person that's there to help them. As a cover supervisor, it's very much, no, what I say is, and this is what will happen.
What Tony needs from John are some ideas on how to reduce noise levels so she can focus more on the teaching and learning.
OK, for those of you who haven't met me before, I'm Mrs. Barrett, and I'm going to be taking the lesson today for Mrs. Smith, OK?
She's now covering a Year 8 English lesson.
Now. Yes, we do. By the end of the lessons, students should be able to compare and contrast what is possible, could be possible, and what is impossible in a science fiction text. Because I understand you're doing about science fiction, doing part of genre. Yeah?
You're enjoying the teaching. It's all pretty relaxed. If things were to go wrong, or if there were issues with children, what are your, like the Spanish Inquisition, what are your weapons?
Try and get them back on task as quick as possible so that they don't get a chance to get established into the bad routine. But sometimes it can be hard to notice them going off of task straight away. You're all going to write the first paragraph of a science fiction story of your own. And it will be passed around the table. OK? So, if I just give you those... hold on. If I just give... Year 8. Year 8. Can we keep the noise down a little bit, please? Remember, there are other learners in the school.
How well behaved were you at school?
Not very at all, ever.
Yeah, well, I was pretty much the same. and a wound-up teacher.
Yeah, my friends find it hysterical.
Yeah, and you're not very wound up, but you're wound up enough to cause mild entertainment, aren't you?
Yeah.
Let's just watch you for a few more seconds.
Year 8, I'm going to ask for quiet in 3, 2...
Can you hear your stress now?
Yeah. Year 8. I'm going to ask again for quiet in 3, 2, 1. Quiet.
You're a bit vexed with them. And they're not entirely plugged into the task. Do you know why? I mean,
Well, my language, body language, the volume of my voice isn't helping at all.
Yeah, that's
the
not
way
helping.
that I'm talking as well isn't helping because you can hear my stress,
Yes.
which isn't helping to keep them calm.
Quiet. You now have 5 minutes to write your first paragraph.
I'm going to ask again for quiet.
Well, I can be standing at the front of the room saying, we've got 3 minutes to go, 3 minutes to go, 3 minutes to go, quieten down. And I'm telling you to quieten down, but I'm not very quiet myself, but it's 3 minutes to go. You count down, you go 3, 2, 1. You've got silence, they listen. What should happen to your voice after that?
Should go quieter.
Should go quieter, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. That's great, my darlings. Now, here's what I want you to do. I think you're such a strong presence in the classroom that the way you are has a big effect on the children.
The noise is not all coming from Tony. The students are supposed to be checking each other's written work, but some are clearly off task.
Ladies, gentlemen. Year 8. Thank you. Ladies. Right, in silence, can you read the story you started and think about why it could be real? Okay? I'll give you the next instruction in a moment. Thank you. Ladies, no, I have asked you now, quiet. I have had to stop giving others instructions twice while I was waiting for you to finish talking.
What's going on here?
Well, the ladies on that table started getting a little bit loud, but I could have handled that very differently now I look at it.
What sound level do we want them to be talking at when they're looking at each other's work?
You want it to be quiet, don't you, so that if anybody has already finished and is getting on with their work, it's not going to be disrupting them too much.
You can say, I need you to do it in partner voices. You can hear each other saying, but you can hear me. Or you might say, but I want you to talk at sound level 2 out of 10. Or I want you to keep it low down on the Richter scale. Or whatever your phrase is. Whisper voices, your 0 level voices, sounding like mice. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a descriptive word for it.
Tony's now on her way to cover a Year 8 geography lesson. Armed with a repertoire of John's techniques, she plans to control her voice levels and encourage the students to do the same.
Right, I'm going to ask for quiet in 3, 2, 1. Quiet, please. Thank you. Mr. Parnell has told me that you're all doing about volcanoes at the moment. And earthquakes. Right, we're going to be looking at Montserrat today. So we need quiet now so you can hear the instructions. This is very important, OK?
The class teacher has left Tony a group work lesson, with students encouraged to discuss the dangers of a volcanic eruption. Managing the sound levels will be a big challenge.
And it was like on a chain of like vents, and it was this lake, and there was like loads of CO2 building up. Like,
Right, just could I have your attention in 3, 2, 1. I said we could talk quietly. Remember, the people that you're sat next to are who you're talking to. OK, so we need quiet voices, please. All right? Thank you.
Where is the volcano too? Because it says Sentinel Dome on the east side of the...
this isn't allowed. They're not letting that part of road be used. You just
OK? The noise volume's got loud and I don't like to shout. We need to keep the volume. You've done really well then. It's come down a lot. We just need to take it down a little bit more, OK? You're doing really well.
For most of the lesson, Tony manages to keep the noise down. But late on, the students' sound levels rise again.
You work for me, will you? They have no idea what's going on. Right, AS, I'm going to ask for quiet in 3, 2, 1. Quiet, please. I'm going to ask for quiet for a second time, please, in 3, 2, 1. Quiet, please. Thank you very much.
The discussion that we had earlier on about your countdowns, I noticed you dropping your voice and all that. How did that work?
That seemed to work a lot better because they definitely got the gist just by my voice coming down that, I mean, at the end it wasn't as good as it was at the beginning.
No, we can talk about that in just a minute.
But they definitely did get the hang of the fact that my voice was coming down. That means Miss is expecting our voices to come down lower.
And it's also much clearer to me now. We're not talking about shutting them up. We're talking about managing the sound level, aren't we? We could even call it sound for learning, couldn't we? Mm. What I've mentally invented for you, and I don't know if we have time to make it, but it's a strip of cardboard, and it's called Miss Barrett's sound meter. And it starts red, it shades down to golden. And you say, I just want to talk to you guys. Down here is golden listening silence. And here is really nice, quiet, whisper, whisper voices. Here's when you're talking to your mates at a table. Here's when I begin to get edgy, and above here, it's murder for me. But do you get the idea? Just
Yeah, no,
just
I
being a
like the
bit more...
visual aspect.
So I think we either equip you with a rainwater stick, or you need your little sound chart.
I like the idea of the sound chart. That's something you could stick up on a board to make it very visual to them.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if they see the teacher walking towards it, then they're going to say, hang on, oh, I don't like the fact that's just gone out. This one's a bit of an odd classroom because it's used for so many different subjects at so many different times.
The first outing for Tony's freshly minted sound meter is going to be a Year 9 geography class. And John's interested to see if it'll make a difference.
Now, this just makes it a little bit easier for all of us. OK, so if my arrow's on the green, this means everything's fine. We're nice, quiet voices, so we're only listening so that others in the group can hear us. If we go on to the orange, so if my arrow moves up, it means that it's getting a little bit loud. You might want to think about bringing it down a bit, OK? If it gets on the red, that's definite outdoor voices. So that's when we're starting to get really loud, and somebody over there can be heard by everybody over here, which means they can't hear each other because they're right next to each other. All right, and we don't want to get that loud because otherwise we're going to be interrupting others' learning, OK?
It's a group work lesson exploring life in the shanty towns of Brazil.
Right, in your groups, looking at your photos, you need to be asking each other questions about the photographs, OK? That you've got in front of you.
Dancing. What else have we got there?
Backstreet Party. Who?
Fiesta.
Yeah. Because India, you know that pink stuff you had on you?
Yeah, henna.
Yeah. Hair dye?
Henna.
Yeah, they usually have that on their hands.
All that
and
stuff.
Build a nursery.
No.
Build and install a standpipe to provide clean water.
Yeah.
This noise level is fantastic, folks. You're doing really well.
Mrs. Barrett's sound meter has been a hit. It's only required a few gentle reminders to keep the noise at the right level for effective teaching and learning.
The reason for that one's because, like, if you've got, like, a workshop, then people can learn how to make new houses and stuff.
Okay.
You're working brilliantly at this noise level. It's really good. I'm really impressed. Well done.
Tell me about the noise level meter. I thought it worked well.
I'm just pointing out to them that this is the level we want for this lesson. It's all going to be group work, so if we keep it at that level, if it goes above, then we know we're getting danger zone. But it didn't have to move at all because I kept the level down where I wanted it. So it's explained at the very beginning.
OK, that's great. And I saw it kept your level down as well. You sounded more relaxed.
Very much so.
Is it going to be this easy introducing the sound level meter to all your classes?
Hopefully, but I doubt it. It never is that simple every time you're doing it.
OK.
There will be challenges with some of the more boisterous students that we do have at the school, but I'm sure it'll be just a case of once they get used to this idea and this is what's expected of them, they'll soon come in to understand that when they see that and they see it moving, that they know they're getting too loud.
What I've appreciated is just how much information you have to absorb before each lesson. There's an awful lot of paddling under the water, isn't there?
Just a little bit, yeah. It can be very much like information overload if you're not careful.
Yeah.